I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please note all board members are present. Tim is absent this evening. He is at the funeral of his father-in-law, and our thoughts are with Tim and Jane this evening. Tony will be filling in and giving the superintendent reports. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to start with a special presentation.
I would like to introduce Activities Director, Mr. Brad Skogerbo, and he's going to talk about one of our student athletes, Matt Schamebauer.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure to introduce Matt Schamebauer. Matt has led the Trojans to the 2014 floor hockey state championship and also to the fourth place finish this year in 2015. He was a four-time member of the all-tournament team for the State High School League. He holds numerous records, and because of that, Matt was selected to receive the Ed Profofsky Most Valuable Player Award for Adapted Athletics the 2014-15 school year. So with that, I would like to introduce and congratulate Matt Schamebauer. I would also like to, with no good players without a good coach, so I'd also like to introduce Miss Shelley Crea. She said she'd come up and say a few words as well. So Shelley's here, so if she could come up.
Just kidding. There's a lot that goes into the award that Matthew won. First of all, he has to at least be in two adaptive sports, and Matt's in softball, and he's been in floor hockey since he was in 7th grade. Some of those records, and we're not going to spend a lot of time going through his records because that's the minimal part of the award. Matthew holds the all-time scoring record for the Adaptive League overall since it's been started. He's had 100 goal seasons the last 2 years. And those are just a few. He's been all conference, and as Mr. Skogerbo said, he's been on the all tournament team 4 times. Matthew brings a lot more than just those statistics to a team. Matthew's leadership, starting as a sophomore, junior, senior, has been just amazing. He's a very quiet young man, very laid back. He doesn't get too bent out of shape or any of that stuff, but he's a very intense athlete. He works very hard to be as good as he can be, and by leading by example, Matthew has established a team or a base for our team. We are no longer just a place where kids go so that we can, so they have something to do. It is a place where they have something to do, but there's more to it. They want to strive for state tournaments and awards like Matthew's been awarded. His leadership, as I said, has been amazing. He works with other kids and other athletes just as well as a coach, and we've seen that more in this last year and it's just gotten to be unreal. So the award that he won, yes, it goes on statistics, but I think to bring it all to closure, Matthew's leadership, his work ethic, the way he works with others, and the way he learns from his mistakes or my mistakes, really accents the reason that Matt got this award. Yes, there were some great stats, but it really does come down to the other part of it, the community part of it. So we also would like to, as an adaptive softball and floor hockey team, thank the board and the people, Mr. Skogerbo, and the people behind us that help support and make this a sport that can happen for our kids. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Korea, and you, of course, do a wonderful job with all of your staff, and we would like to bring Matt up, and we'll award him with a nice bag and a water bottle, and I would like to also recognize Pam and Leroy Schoenbauer. We know we need those great coaches, but Mom and Dad back there, you guys have done a wonderful job, and of course got everybody, Matt to the games and all the different places he needed to be, and kept him healthy, so congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Skogerbo, for introducing Matt.
Congratulations again, Matt, and thanks for being a big part of the team. And going on, let's approve the agenda for this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any additions or subtractions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve a consent agenda?
Second.
Any further discussion? No one that's retiring that you need to. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Committee reports. Policy.
The Policy Committee met last week, and we're making good progress in reviewing all of the policies and bringing them up to date. And we not only go by the MSBA guidelines, but we also check with the appropriate staff here in the school district for input on all of these policies.
Thank you. Were there any Southwest Metro?
Southwest Metro takes June and July off for the summer, so we'll be meeting next in August.
Same with CPAC?
CPAC also resume during the school year.
Any community ed?
Okay. First of all, on May 28th, we got a report from Aga Fronick. I think there was a picture in the paper where she had gotten the kids that come in early in the morning and after school kids company running, and seemed to be a fairly successful program. The enrollment this year for community ed was 490 classes, and only 26 were canceled during the year. Lana Puffer's replacement was Mary Bartuszek, who had worked in the building over by Falcon Ridge. August 1st will be the next delivery of brochure, and September 19th, those Inky Days, including the variety show and the Artist Alley.
I was just going to mention the kids company. They're going to be doing the running in the schools in the fall now. They were doing it as a pilot, right? Is that right? Ravenstream and Falcon Ridge, right. And now they're going to have it go across all 3 elementaries.
It was a very impressive report.
Yes.
I was very impressed.
The running club, they call it, right? Okay.
How many of the kids were doing it?
They had close to 100. Was that about right, Don?
Was that most of the kids who do that, who go there in the morning? Or?
Yes.
Most of the ones that can
go to
make them
kids
when
company.
they're running. Not all of them come at the same time.
Said they love it.
Good way to wake up.
And what is it, in inclement weather, they're inside doing it? Is that right? Yep, they were.
Thank you. Next, superintendent report.
Well, the first thing I think we can address is the school board doing the running also at 6:15 before board meetings. I think you guys are going to start that too through community ed.
You can lead,
Sure,
Tony.
around here a couple times.
Wait, he would. So.
Mr. Ditburner would lead you.
Okay.
I'm up.
I'll ride a trike. Yeah, we've got just a couple things, and then I'm going to have some other folks also talk about some things. I would like to just let you know that even though school is out, summer programs have begun. We probably have very close to 400 kids that are doing summer-type programs between targeted services and ESY, which is extended school year, and that is all the way from ages 4 up through seniors in high school. So nothing new, it's just summer programming that we have for our targeted services. We really focus on reading and math. And we've got 12 teachers in the elementaries and 3 teachers in the middle school and 3 teachers in the high school who are working with those kids. And then our extended school year are for our students on IEPs or in special education that need the additional support throughout the summer also. So we've got buses running, we've got teachers and paraprofessionals working, and today was one of the first days for some of those kids, and it was off to a great start. Everybody came in just a little bit wet though. A second thing, we would ask Sandy Lynn to come up and just give us a brief legislative update.
Yes, hi. I will give just a very brief update. I haven't gotten a lot of details yet. I'm going to a meeting on Thursday, half day, to get more details on the legislation, but I'll tell you what I know on the financial side. First of all, the per pupil formula increase was 2% a year. That additional 1% got the district about another $256,000 in revenue total. I'll be going over that when I present the budget as well. Facilities, if you recall, we had been talking about that facility task force that they had convened a couple of years ago. The legislature did take action on that, and starting in fiscal year 17, so not next year but the following year, districts will be able to participate in a facilities mainly levy but an equalized levy. And if you recall, only 25 of the largest districts in the state have been eligible for that, but now all districts will be eligible for that. A lot of our long-term facility needs have been taken care of by the bonds that we're selling from the bond election, but this is really good to know going forward. They did not give any more money for teacher evaluation. However, they did raise the appropriation cap for QComp to allow more districts to go into that, but unfortunately they didn't have anything specific for teacher evaluation. Extended time, which goes to targeted services in summer school. That revenue increased. Again, I don't know how much yet, but it'll help our district. Concurrent enrollment receives some more funding. This is college and schools. And right now, they prorate the aid so much because there's not a lot appropriated. So again, this will help our district, but I'm not quite sure how much yet because I don't know the details. In the community services area, school readiness received an increase in aid from the state. And also there's more money in early learning scholarships. We don't have a lot of people that participate in that, just a few families, but there are more scholarships available for preschool. And that's really about it on the financial side. So hopefully we'll get some more information on Thursday.
Thank you, Sandy. And since we've got Mr. Skogerbo here too, we would like him to come up and talk about the high school trap team, or the school trap team that just recently finished the season.
Yeah, our Clay Target, or our trap team, won the league state championship again this year. Last year we were in. What they've done is they've separated in 6 different divisions, and last year we were in Section 5, and we won the state championship. We've moved to the largest division this year, and we ended up winning the state championship that's sponsored by the Clay Target League. Then what they've did this past weekend is they kind of brought all the teams together, and we finished 7th in a tournament that was sponsored by the State High School League. So we won the largest division state championship for the Clay Target League, and then we took 5 shooters to the tournament or the event sponsored by the State High School League, and we ended up placing 7th, which is out of all the different divisions. So Paul Dietzer is our advisor. He does an outstanding job. We have numerous kids involved And, you know, another thing I should say, we not only won the Class 6A state varsity title, we also won the JV title as well. So got a lot of good kids, and this is something they thoroughly enjoy doing. So Paul Dietz and his assistant coaches deserve a lot of credit.
Is it an activity at all the schools?
No, it is not. But there's more and more. I'd say when we first started it, there were not many at all, and now I would say there's not many that don't have it anymore. But there's still some that haven't adopted it yet.
What's the percentage of females and males? Is
So
there?
there's probably a few more males than females,
okay.
but it's a both genders
Okay.
are doing well.
You find a lot of these students don't participate in other sports, but they do in this? Some do?
There are some. We have some kids that not only are involved in this season, but all summer long they'll be traveling all over the country competing in these things. So it is become, for some of them, it's become their thing. But we do have some other athletes and other fine artists that they're involved in other things that are on the trap team as well.
Thank you, Brad. And I know at the last work session, I think Mr. Dittburner and you guys just talked about graduation a little bit, but just at the public forum piece here so everybody can see, but the graduation did go very well. Many of you were there to attend, but it was a wonderful night at the New Prague High School. It was unfortunate we weren't able to be outside, but I would like to give some recognition to Craig Most and his entire crew of both buildings and grounds and also technology. They worked very hard to have both sites prepared, and Mr. Seifert and his entire staff did an outstanding job. So for anybody watching, hopefully next year we can be out on the field. But it was a great time. That's all that I have for any good news items, unless there's anyone else or any questions.
I was just going to throw in an update on the facilities task force meeting. This past week, they did a tour of middle schools. A bus went there, and then a bus went to look at swimming pools. I went on the swimming pool one. It was very interesting. They'll have meetings again tomorrow with both the middle school, the CEC, and then the pool task force group, and it seems to be coming along quite nicely. Okay, let's get back into our action items. First item is the approval of the MSHSL resolution, which we just have to read every year and formally approve.
Right, this is a formality that most districts consider doing because of the fact that there is so much that can be gained from belonging to the Minnesota State High School League. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution for membership in the Minnesota State High School League.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Resolved that the governing board of School District 721, County of Scott, Rice, and Lesueur, State of Minnesota, delegates the control, supervision, and regulation of interscholastic athletic and fine arts events to the Minnesota State High School League, and so hereby certifies to the State Commissioner of Education as provided for by the Minnesota statutes. Further, it is resolved that the New Prague High School will renew its membership in the State High School League and participate in the approved inter-school activities sponsored by said league and its various subdivisions. That the governing board hereby adopts the Constitution, bylaws, rules, and regulations of said league and all amendments hereto as the same are as published in the latest edition of the league's official handbook. Signing the resolution for membership affirms that this governing board has reviewed the Why We Play training video, which defines the purpose of education-based athletic and activity programs and will assist school communities in communicating a shared common language as it relates to the value of these said programs. How do you vote on this, Don?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis? Yes. Item passes.
And did you note that they had the line in there that affirmed we all watched that video that we watched at our last work session? Next item, the approval of new co-curricular activities positions. Did you want to say anything about that, Brad, or?
Yeah, the two positions, the first one being the fall cheerleader advisor, assistant cheerleading advisor. We've been in a different conference now, and we're moving to district football, and so we are, I'm asking that we, it's too many nights away from home for one advisor. So that's why we're asking for this position. Second position is a costuming director that would be in charge of the fall musical, the one-act play, and the spring musical, getting the kids the costumes and working with our consortium that we belong to make sure we get the costumes cleaned and put away after each show. I think it's going to be something that is something we've needed for a while, and I think it would be a good addition.
I'll make the motion to approve the co-curricular activities positions.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next, Brad gets to talk again about the increase in the student activities fees for sports and other activities at the middle school and high school.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking at increasing. We haven't increased for a while. What we're doing is moving up 10% of what we currently have, and would move the family cap to $475, which currently it's at $425. Now this would, are there any questions about that? This would increase revenue, obviously, to a point where we could maybe do some other things.
This one of those that you brought up where you're moving up a couple of activities to catch up with the other ones?
Correct. Yeah, like I said, we have not increased them for quite some time now.
Are these pretty comparable to other school districts?
Yes, they
We're not
are.
out of line there. Okay.
And Brad, students that have less capability of paying do have assistance for taking care of these.
I apply every year for the State High School League Foundation grant, and anybody that cannot afford a fee, that's what that money is used for.
And the other reason that this is going to be going up is for the admission fees, right?
Correct. We want to move towards, obviously, Shakopee did it last year where they allowed all K through 12 grade students free admission. And by doing this, it would help offset those costs.
So for every sporting activity, the students in grades K through 12 will have an ID and they will be able to get in.
Correct.
To all of that activities, and with that, the
Correct.
activity fees are going up.
Yep. And we've talked about making because we're not going to really need a family pass anymore, or a student pass. We've offered an adult pass in the past for $60, which we haven't sold too many because they usually get the family pass. Now we would not have to have the family pass, so what we do is increase that by $20 to have a dual adult pass. So they could each have a pass to get in, because their kids would be getting in free already.
And I know Brad mentioned at our work session that this increased the attendance at some of the less well-attended events because the students could get in free.
Correct. And he said that the ones that they never used to get much for attendance, now they were getting kids all the time, and it was a better atmosphere for the student athletes, and just keep giving kids something to do at night. So.
And actually, it was a question before the meeting. For seniors, do they show their ID? If they're a community member?
Over 65.
No. I don't. If they tell me they're a senior citizen, they're a senior citizen.
Okay.
Looking for a motion? Yeah. Okay. I'll make a motion to increase the student activity fees for 2015-16.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No, I think it's a good idea to give these kids a chance to come to these games free and see
Yeah.
how it works for 1 year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is approving the high school activities handbook, with the caveat that we're going to update the handbook with the new fee structure that we just approved. So the one that's on the internet right now doesn't have the new prices, but we're voting to approve it with the new prices.
I make a motion, we approve the new high school activities handbook.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Approval of the coach's advisor handbook. Which all these, we had kind of gone over the changes, which are basically just updating because of dates, and they're in yellow on the forms that are in the board docs online.
I'll make a motion to approve as said.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next, we're on the middle school handbook.
Kitten, did you say these were all highlighted, the changes? I guess I didn't look. Were they on this one? I didn't notice that.
Well, basically it was just dates and then times for some of their class periods for the middle school
Yeah,
one.
so if the public wants to look at them, they can get online
Yeah.
and view them.
But that's really all that changes with some timing
Very
things on
minimal,
that one.
very minimal changes with that, just kind of consolidating some of the information. Then we added in we're going to have tutorial time added into our schedule on Tuesdays and Fridays, and that was a change that we needed to add in there as well.
Okay, were they yellow? Okay, you looking for a motion or any questions? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the middle school handbook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thanks, Rick.
Next, the middle school activities handbook with the same thing, that the fees will be updated based on what we approved
Yeah, and
earlier in
then
the meeting.
the two big updates were that we're going to make it equitable for the some of the fine arts fees were quite a bit less than some of the athletic fees, so we moved them all to $90. But with the increase that will go district wide, we'll make that 10% increase on there as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the middle school activities handbook.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Transportation handbook for employees. That one had a few changes.
Yeah,
which were
Steve
all-
is not here, but he reviewed the changes at the workshop.
Yep.
Could you review that real quickly?
Pardon?
Could you give a small synopsis of that one again?
She may not know.
Well, from what I recall, the main change was the use of electronic devices on the buses, because now everybody has Chromebooks, and so before it kind of said that they couldn't have electronic items. They still can't have toys, but they can have devices. And they also updated in the parent handbook about having friends ride home on the bus or ride to school on the bus with their friends because of capacity limitations and so forth, that is not allowed unless in emergency situations.
But the first one says something about employees.
The first handbook is the employee handbook.
Right, and it talks about the electronic devices.
For the employees, not the students.
Well, I think this thing is what they allow on the bus. Is that right? You know, I didn't bring it with
through
me.
it quick.
I know it's for sure was in the parent one.
Because it's highlighted in here. They talk about bus cleanup, that it needs to be done, that they need to make sure the bus should be fueled before your departure. Just minor, instead of will, it should. Hold on, there was some other ones down here.
And some cleaning, yeah.
That they have to
Cleaning
do
and warming up the
evacuation
bus.
drills once a year.
And then once the kids get on and off, Steve went through this too, they'll be seated, having them seated, waiting for them to be seated once they get on and not driving off, or
Right.
once they're loading or unloading.
again, like everything else, it's online. If somebody needs to look at it, they can take a look at it there.
Yeah, I think we covered it all. Looks like
Yeah.
that's all the yellow.
I think I got all the yellow there, so.
Got to make a motion to approve it then?
Yeah. Oh, I thought there was one, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the employee handbook for transportation.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. And the next one is the one for parents, and that's the one that talks a little bit more about the electronics being allowed on the bus now.
Right.
And about drop-off and multiple drop-off situations.
I'll make a motion to approve the transportation handbook for parents.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have the approval of a 2015-16 calendar change. The main thing that's being changed is moving graduation from Saturday night to Friday night.
And that's because of Memorial Weekend, probably, correct?
Correct.
One of
And
the
I think
reasons.
the plan is to leave it on, see how it goes on Friday night, but potentially just leave it on Friday
Yeah,
going
right,
forward
but-
as it has been.
I'll make the motion to approve the calendar change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next, Normandale Community College PSEO agreement.
Be asking for official approval tonight on the Normandale PSEO agreement. Basically, because of a slight change in the law, Bloomington Schools worked with Normandale to come up with a different way of doing PSEO, where we will report the student full-time on our MARS file and get funding for them, and then they will bill us for the actual classes that the student takes. And had we done that this year, it would have saved the district about $27,000. So when I do the revised budget, you will see, it's not in tonight's budget because it hadn't been approved yet, but the revised budget will see a big increase in revenue, but also a big increase in expenses for those classes. So just recommend approval of that tonight.
How many students do we have going?
Oh, looking
Normandale?
down probably 25. Looking
That's
down
where
the list
most
here.
of the kids take classes from?
Lots of kids take classes at Normandale.
This is the only situation we have to approve.
Yes, right. The one at the U of M, they have not done this, and I'm hoping that they will look at it. It's on my list to talk to them about. A little bit worried that when MD finds out about this, they might change the rules, but we'll do it for this year anyway.
I'll make a motion to accept the Normandale PSEO agreement as Sandy talked about.
A second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Now Sandy's going to go over the new preliminary budget.
Yeah, it'll be a pretty short presentation. I'm just going to basically be going over the changes from when I reported at the May 26th meeting. But this will be the final reading and for approval tonight for the budget for next year, which is required by statute to be approved by June 30th. There's only been a few changes. I think you're all aware of these. We increased the formula by 2% to 2%, and that amounted to an additional $256,000 in revenue. We added the 2 coaching positions that you approved tonight, the costuming advisor and the fall assistant cheerleading advisor. That was a total of about $5,000, and then we increased the transportation office assistant by 0.5 FTE to full-time, and that is about $26,000. And the next steps would be, we will get our audit results in September. December, I'll be coming to you with a final budget and updated 5-year projections, and that will include the construction fund and the bond sale. I did not include that in this preliminary budget. It really wasn't necessary. And just to summarize, this is our total and our unassigned general fund budget, our revenues versus expenses. You can see we are expecting to lose some fund balance. If you recall, from last month, I'm projecting this year for 14-15 to end the year about stable in our fund balance. And also remember that we usually come in about between 98 and 99% of budget typically, so what I'm showing you here is probably worst case scenario. This shows the general fund balance history. You can see it was at the lowest point. It was down, the unassigned fund balance was down to $150,000 in 07-08 and has been climbing nicely. And this year for 14-15 projected to stay about the same, and then next year it shows it decreasing. The general fund reserved and committed accounts, basically there's no change here except staff development went up just a tish because when general ed revenue increases, so does the allocation to staff development. And other funds, I still show the nutrition service and community services going down a little bit this year, but then the nutrition service is stabilizing for next year and community services increasing for next year. And the capital projects looks that way because we should be done with the stadium. We might have a little bit left over at the end of this year because we haven't gotten all the bills paid yet, but we're working on it. We've got another week or so before June 30th comes. So that's really it. I would just ask for approval of the budget that is posted online with all the detail that hopefully you've had a chance to review.
I make a motion, we approve the preliminary 2015-2016 budget.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Fund 4 transfer resolution.
This is, I think, either the third or the fourth year you've seen this before you. When I started, we had a rather large negative balance in our unassigned fund, Fund 4 account. And our auditor said we really need to start cleaning that up. And really it was, when I investigated, it was because of early childhood screening and how our expenses weren't made up with state revenue. Many districts have this issue. And so we decided as a board and administrative staff that we would transfer $50,000 a year from our general fund to our Fund 4 until that negative was eliminated. It's getting very close to being even, so that's good. We're making good progress. So I would just ask that you would approve this resolution tonight.
You have to read it? Okay.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution to make a permanent fund transfer from Fund 01 to Fund 04.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Whereas Minnesota statutes allows an independent school district to permanently transfer funds from the general fund to the community services fund for the purpose of covering unreimbursed early childhood screening expenditures, whereas Minnesota state aid has been insufficient for development screening expenditures, and this has contributed to a large unassigned fund balance in Fund 04. Now therefore be it resolved by the New Prague Area School Board of Education that New Prague Area Schools will transfer $50,000 of its unassigned general fund balance to the unassigned Community Services Fund for the year 14-15. How do you vote on this, Jerry?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Dennis, yes. Item passes.
Next, we need to do approval of severance commitment resolution.
Right, this is something you also do every year. And what I'm doing is, when I started here, I realized we had a pretty large liability out there for paying various severance payments to teachers and some administrators and miscellaneous employees. And so we started a plan to commit to assign funds every year, or to commit funds every year. So we kind of put that away in like a little savings account, so we know that that part of the fund balance is for those severance payments. And this year I'm asking you to commit an additional $125,000 in a general fund unassigned fund balance for those payments.
How many years does the educators' severance still owe?
2 more years. They have to retire by June 30th, 2017.
So that fund will be used up by then, or
But we still have some
reallocated
administrators and some miscellaneous employees that we have severance commitments for.
back. That go past the 2
Yeah.
years? Okay.
Yeah.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution to commit funds for future severance and other post-employment benefit payments.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Whereas the current master agreements with teachers and support staff include a severance or other post-employment benefit provisions that represents a significant future liability to the school district. Whereas GASB 54 reporting guidelines allow by board resolution a school district to commit unassigned general fund balance to account for future severance and other post-employment benefit liability. Now therefore be it resolved by the New Prague Area School Board of Education that New Prague area schools will commit a portion of the unassigned general fund balance to account for future severance and other post-employment benefit liability to enable better planning for future payments. As it desires, the school board can adjust the amount of money committed for these purposes within the general fund balance. The Board of Education committed $831,128 in the general fund for year 13-14. New Prague area schools expects to pay $141,842 in severance payments during the school years 14-15. The Board of Education commits an additional $125,000 in the general fund for 14-15. The total amount of general fund committed at the end of the 14-15 school year is $814,286. How do you vote on this, Jerry?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Dennis? Yes. Item passes.
Thank you.
Next, we have a resolution establishing the dates for filing affidavits of candidacy.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to consider the resolution establishing dates for filing affidavits of candidacy.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 721, State of Minnesota, as follows. The period for filing affidavits of candidacy for the office of School Board Member of Independent School District 721 shall begin on July 28, 2015, and shall close on August 11, 2015. An affidavit of candidacy must be filed in the office of the school district clerk, and a $2 filing fee paid prior to 5:00 p.m. on August 11, 2015. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause notice of said filing dates to be published in the official newspaper of the district at least 2 weeks prior to the first day of the filing of affidavits of candidacy. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause notice of said filing dates to be posted at the administrative offices of the school district at least 10 days prior to the first day of the filing of affidavits of candidacy. The notice of the candidacy will read as follows. Notice of filing dates for the election to the School Board, Independent School District 721, New Prague Area Schools, State of Minnesota. And it's basically a repeat of what I read in the original part of the resolution. How do you vote on that, Don?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis? Yes. Item passes.
Are you tired of reading resolutions yet?
Oh, it's a ball.
Because you're not done yet. Next, we have a resolution to accept a donation from Affinity Plus to the ALC.
And actually, we have two resolutions, and they're identical in their wording. The only difference is who are they coming from. And the one is from Affinity Plus Foundation, and that one is wanting to be donated to the ALC. And the other one is from the Minnesota Academy of Science, and they wish to donate their $1,000 to the science fair through the community education. At this time, I'll entertain a resolution to accept these gifts from Affinity Plus and from the Minnesota Academy of Science.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolutions. Whereas the New Prague Area School Board of Education has established a policy concerning the acceptance of gifts to the school district, and whereas the policy states that the school board may receive for the benefit of the school district bequests, donations, grants of gifts for any proper purpose, and the school board shall have the sole authority to determine whether any gift with a value of $1,000 or more, or any precondition, condition, or limitation on use included in a proposed gift with a value of $1,000 or more, furthers the interests of or benefits the school district, and whether it should be accepted or rejected. Whereas the school board may accept the gift valued at $1,000 or more only by adoption of a resolution by 2/3 of its members. Whereas Affinity Plus wishes to donate $1,000 to the ALC, and whereas Minnesota Academy of Science wishes to donate $1,000 to the science fair run through community education. How do you vote on these resolutions, Don?
Okay, I have a question for Sandy. It's got nothing to do with Fernley Plus or Minnesota Academy of Science, but when we get one of these, is it put in the general fund earmarked for something, or is it just put in a separate fund, or?
No, we track it, and some grants have certain guidelines we have to follow. So in the case of a private sector donation like this, we basically put it in an account and track it so it's spent on the appropriate purposes.
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis, yes. Items pass.
Last item on the agenda item is the non-renewal of teacher contract.
Did we do both of them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
did we do the one for, I thought on the original agenda that we were also going to do the Minnesota State.
We didn't have the latest, the ones on there were preliminary with dates from last year, and we didn't get updated ones, so we just took it off, and we're going to do it in our next meeting or whenever we get the.
And we have until September 1st to do
Yeah,
those, so
or
that's
we
fine.
might have even done it in the fall last year.
Right, we did it in October last year, and we're just, Brad had tried to contact Minnesota State High School, not get the updated documents with the correct years on them.
Okay. So the last resolution considers the non-renewal of a teaching contract of a probationary teacher, Amanda Sterna. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to consider this resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Whereas Amanda Sterna is a probationary teacher in Independent School District 721, be it resolved by the School Board of Education, School District 721, that pursuant to Minnesota statutes, that the teaching contract of Amanda Sterna, probationary teacher in Independent School District 721, is hereby terminated at the close of the current 2014-2015 school year. Be it further resolved that a written notice will be sent to the said teacher regarding termination and non-renewal of her contract as provided by law. How do you vote on this, Don?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Dennis, yes. Item passes.
Next, we need to enter into closed session per Minnesota Statute 13D03 for purpose of contract negotiations.
I'll make the motion, move into closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0.